watching RK Entertainment Presents. When I was a little boy, I remember telling my mom, when I grow up, I want to have friends of all colors and races and of all ages. And true to form, my life has taken that path. Recently, I had the fortune of meeting a beautiful woman, a model, a supermodel in England and London and all over Europe. She's worked for Revlon, Dior, as well as Chanel. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Alexander. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad and touched that you're here. Jamie, tell us about England, where you come from.
Oh, thank you, Kurt. And first of all, thank you to you and Raul. You know how excited I am to be here. I was born in England, in a lovely part of England called Cheshire. I'm the second daughter from an upper-class family to wonderful parents who believed that faith, honesty, integrity, hard work will get you anywhere you want to be, and that's so proved in my life. It's a country larger than a village, very Elizabethan, and it's one of Henry VIII's areas, so you can imagine the wonderful Elizabethan homes, large homes, horses, and green, and a wonderful area for a child to grow up in. And wonderful parents, because they took us everywhere, traveled constantly.
So tell me, Jamie, how did you end up here in America? What brought you here?
Well, my father was a very powerful man in oil, and so we were a very close family. My father and mother had just returned from Portugal. They were going to buy land there. Unfortunately, my father, as he arrived back in England, died suddenly with walking pneumonia. My mother and I, we were lost. We had this powerful man in our life who took us everywhere. And so my poor little mother was lost, but she never complained. She was wonderful. So we went to Tenerife, Canary Islands, thinking that would cure everything. When we came back to England, the weather was awful. In the meantime, my sister, Patricia Hannah Nash, had married a European man, purchased property in San Francisco, and was living a wonderful life. And she called and said, "Why doesn't Mummy come to America for 6 months?" So we got a 6-month visa, and it was rushed overnight. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, because we were such a healthy family, even though my father died suddenly, unexpectedly, none of us had ever been ill. In fact, I didn't even know what an aspirin tablet was, so you can imagine how healthy we are. So Mummy came for 6 months, and unfortunately she was here 4.5 months when she became quite ill and was in intensive care. And I got the call in Europe, and my sister abandoned my mother in San Francisco, so I came here with no question of could I, would I, should I. My parents gave me a wonderful life, and of course, as confused as I was, I made my life in America, in San Francisco, having all my legal status changed, which that's quite a story, quite an adventure, but that's how I came and how I stayed in America.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me, when you were modeling, tell me what modeling was like when you were modeling.
It was wonderful, Carl, because it was very chic. First of all, you had to be very well educated. Okay. I had a chaperone, I was taken around in a Rolls Royce and a Bentley. The houses of fashion were very strict. You never saw smoking or alcohol, but the clothes themselves were so glamorous, flowing sable, chiffons. And when you look in magazines, you see the styles much different than they are today. So we dressed and worked accordingly, and it was quite a top-line job.
And what type of designers did you work with?
I worked for Christian Dior, first of all, Pierre Balmain, Yves Saint Laurent, and that was in around Europe, and then Norman Hartnell in England, who was the Queen's designer, and in Ireland, which is Ireland near England, Sybil Connolly.
So what were these designers like? What were their temperament like, the designers? Were they nice guys or?
Yes, they were. Oh, there was a lot of temperamental. They had large entourages. At that time, I never noticed much about it because it was just the way life was. But now I think about it, I think how, yes, temperamental, but very talented. But there was a lot of noise, because in Europe we had a lot of French people and Italians. So it was quite joyous ambiance.
Wow. Do you watch American Next Top Model?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
Well, when I say no, I haven't, I think I've watched probably 5 or 10 minutes because it didn't quite interest me, really.
Oh, really?
But I know it's very popular.
Do you see a difference in modeling now as opposed to then?
Oh, yes, indeed. First of all, when we walked, we floated. And we used our hands, which I still now. I mean, people say to me, you know, I float when I walk. And I believe that to be true. But now they walk like cart horses. It's not,
that's true.
It's not elegant at all. But I suppose it has to blend with the times. I don't like it.
Wow. So how did you end up in Los Angeles?
Well, I was very successful in San Francisco, taking care of my mother. And after 23 years, she went to heaven. And as time rolled on, my nephew, who is the son of my sister, Jerome Nash, he's a very wealthy property owner. He called me. He said, Auntie, I want you to come to Southern California. I'm going to let you have an apartment the rest of your life as an award for what I did for his grandmother, because his mother and I were sisters, and I did it all on my own. And I was thrilled. I thought to be given an apartment and be taken care of for the rest of my life, because I had worked hard 7 days a week, but I did it with joy. And I, with my faith, it was the most wonderful experience, and I encourage everyone to really help their families. So I moved here and chose an apartment in Beverly Hills on Elm Drive. And unfortunately, my nephew, Jerome Nash, reneged on his promise. He evicted me and put me out in the street.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
But I want to make everything I've done as a positive way with a business for seniors who can show how they can survive when they had something terrible happen in their life. I don't want to sit in a corner and say, poor me. Yes, it was devastating. It is very frightening. So I want to move that negative into a positive.
I
or
see.
how people, seniors who are abused, because I was abused, I was terrified, how I can help them and give them the hope and faith and show them they can survive without taking medication or alcohol, and have their faith and go through life in a wonderful way.
How were you abused? In what way were you abused?
Oh, verbally by my nephew. He terrified me. I mean, he was threatening me all the time, and which I've never had in my life. And you know, you don't realize what it is. When you hear it broadcast and you hear people talking about it years ago, I thought to myself, well, that can't be true, but it is true. And you don't recognize it. So I want to show them the strength that I have to help them, because there's a lot of scared people, especially women in the world, older women.
So have you heard from your nephew? Have you heard?
I haven't spoken to him at all.
Wow.
No, there's no connection at all. I have to leave that to a higher power.
Oh, I see.
And you can't deal with a person like that, because there's no solution that I need. I need good, wonderful, loyal, honorable people around me, and I want to be around them.
I see. So tell me something, Jamie. Who inspires you?
In my life?
Yes.
The blessed Lord, first of all, and the way I was brought up. Because I'm very calm and I'm able to balance things. I don't have any technique, there's no ingredients, or you can't write on the paper and say, well, this, and so. This is just my nature, that I'm able to balance. And like a seesaw, I level myself out very well, but it is my tremendous faith, and that I will never change.
Oh, I see.